Welcome back, 7th grade pre-algebra students. This is your second day of Unit 9. If you could, please mark your paper up in the upper right-hand corner. We'll put the date, Wednesday, April 29th, and we'll call this lesson today 9.2 Stem and Leaf. All right, let's get started. Our warm-up for today is going to be a little bit of a review from yesterday. Number 1 says the table shows the amount of money spent on gas for 5 months. Find the mean, median, and range of the data. So we have in December 125, January 120, 135 in February, 100 in March, and 90 in April. And then notice there's an empty spot right here, May. That's going to help us answer the second part to this question. So if we take a peek here, remember for the mean, you are going to add all the numbers and divide by how many you added. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to divide by 5. You can pause this video and add up those 5 numbers. Hopefully you got 570. Divide by 5. The average is $114. Now for the median, what we need to do first is we need to put our numbers in order. So we're going to take our numbers and we're going to put them in order from smallest to biggest. We have 90, 100, 120, 125, and 135. Now remember, for the median, it is the middle number. So I'm going to go in 1, 2, go in 1, 2. This is the number right in the middle, $120. Now for our range, what we have to do is we have to find the maximum and subtract the minimum. Well, over here, it's pretty nice and easy. We have our maximum and minimum. 135 minus 190. What we get is our range is 45. For the last question, or for the second part of what we're going to be asking here, it says if you plan on spending, and now I'm just going to come up with an extra number. If you plan on spending $100 on gas in May, so if we put 100 in here, it says, will the mean, median, or range change? Which one will change the most? First, we're going to make a prediction if it's going to go up or go down or stay the same. Well, our old mean was 114. Our old median was 120. And our old range was 45. So now let's take a peek at what we have. We have an average of 114. If we add in a number that is less than that, what do you think is going to happen to our mean? Hopefully you predicted that an average of 114, when you add 100 in, hopefully you think it will go down. And the math that we can do to actually prove that, we can steal what we have from up here, because you're required to show your division problem. So if we take our 570 for 5 months and we add the 100 for that last month, we have our new division problem. Now it's $670 for 6 months. Grab your calculator and type that in. And what you should get is you should get a new average of 111.67. So now look at your prediction. Did that actually go down? And it did. If we look at our median now, our median is our middle number. Well, where would the 100, the new 100, where would that end up being placed in our list of numbers up here? Well, let's add that in. Now we have 90, the original 100, the new 100, 120, 125, and 135. So this one, or this new 100 got added to the left side. And what that does now is it says, okay, here's two smallest, here's the two biggest. Now we have two of them in the middle. What that's going to do now is that's going to require us to add those and divide by 2. Remember to add the top first, push enter, and then divide by 2. And that ends up producing a new median of 110. Oh, that also forced that one to go down. So when you put a number on the left, it forced it to go down. And now if we look at our range, let's see what's going to happen there. Well, I'm going to use my new list here. Well, my maximum is still 135. My minimum is still 90. My range didn't change. Question number 2. The price of gas at 2 stations is $1.35 and $1.42. What price could get added to make the median price 142? Well, we only have 2 numbers right now, so it's pretty easy to put those in order. 135 and 142. Now here's what our goal is. Our goal is to keep this one right here in the middle. Well, if we want this to be our middle one, do we want to add a number on the left or do we want to add a number on the right? Hopefully you said to yourself, well, we want to add a number on the right. And whatever this problem or whatever this new price is going to be, as long as it produces the 142 in the middle, maybe 143, or anything more than that would work. Now I'm really going to challenge you to think right here. If we added another $1.42, would that produce a median price of $1.42? Well, let's look. 142. Maybe this one will work, maybe it won't. If we add that in, we still have 135 as our minimum. The original 142 is going to go here, but the next 142 is just going to go next to it, and it can't go anywhere else. So even $1.42 would work, keeping that original $1.42 right in the middle. All right, we are going to introduce our stem and leaf plots. This is going to be used with mean, median, and mode and range. It's just another way of organizing information. So a stem and a leaf plot is characterized by a stem, which is like the branch of a tree, and a leaf, which is like the leaves on the branch. The stem is usually formed by the first 1 or 2 digits of the number, and the leaf is formed by the last. Create a stem and leaf plot for the following information. So here's our first example. What we're going to do is we're going to recognize right here, we have numbers in the 10s and numbers in the 20s. That's what that number before it is. Now this line right here usually is a little thicker, but sometimes it's tough to show that when we're typing that in. The nice part is the list that you're given right here is already in order from smallest to biggest. When you organize your stem and leaf plot, you have to keep your numbers in order. So if we just start here with our numbers that are in the 10s, our smallest number is 11. We only write this one because this one right here says, hey, that's 11. It's in the 10 spot. So we have an 11. Then you got to leave a little bit of space. We only write the 4, little bit of space, only write the 8, little bit of space, and we write the 9. What that now is saying is we have 11, 14, 18, and 19. There are 4 numbers in the 10s. If we look at the next stem, we have a 2, so we're going to add in the numbers in the 20s. We have a 22, 23, 25, 26, and 27. So the original 2 for 20 is there, so 22, 23, 25, 26, and 27. Now you can tell because there are 9 leaves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that there are 9 numbers in our data set. A lot of times there's a key that's given, and so it might just look something like this. If we just pull any one of our numbers, let's pull 14. They just want you to know that that equals 14. Let's take a look at a few other examples that are going to be representing stem and leaf plots. Few other examples that we have right here. 23 is represented by 2. Now this is in the stem spot, so the leaf that goes after it is 3. You can even represent dollar amounts. $2.08, if you'll look right here, this is 2 point, and then we put the 8 right here. So this 2.0 would represent anything from $2, 2.00, all the way through $2.09, 2.09. If your number is larger than 99, you can take the first 2 numbers. This would be 250, and then since it's 258, we put the 8 after. If you have 2 numbers in the 80s, 83 and 88 are represented on the same branch, one with a 3 and one with an 8. Again, you added those, so those are the 2 leaves. All right, here's our last problem for the day. On a recent survey, AMSA 7th graders were asked about how many hours do you do homework each week. A random selection of the responses includes, and here we have a stem and leaf plot. So these are all of the stems, 0 to 9 hours, 1 to 19, and 20 to 29. So 0s, 10s, 20s. First thing it says, write a list of the data. So there's kind of a lot of numbers, so leave yourself a little bit of space, but why don't I pause and have you guys write out the list in order. And here's my list. The first question after you write your list says, what is the range of hours of homework? Well, remember range is the maximum minus the minimum. You could have found the maximum just by looking at here. The last number listed is 24, and the smallest number listed is 0. So we're going to do that math. We are going to do 24 minus 0. Our range is 24. I have that same list of numbers. Hopefully you have your list in front of you that is ordered. If you don't order your numbers, we can still do the math. First thing I'm going to ask on this page is what is the median? So I'm looking for the middle number. Now, if I don't have the nice list that I had on my previous page, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of underline. Here's my biggest number. Here's my smallest. Here's the next 2 biggest, 12 and 15. Here's the next 2 smallest. So I'm going to go a little bit at a time. My next 2 biggest, my next 2 smallest. So instead of crossing them off, I'm just underlining them. My next 2 biggest, my next 2 smallest, next 2 smallest, next 2 biggest, 1, 1, and now what I've left in the middle is my median. Again, hopefully you found that same thing if you had your list of numbers listed out. So my median is 5. Now my mean, remember that's my average. This is the one you have to be the most careful with. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There's 21 numbers. Now one of the big reasons we have you write out your division problem is because we want to make sure you do the adding first. Don't add them all in your calculator and at the same time divide, because your calculator will mix up the order of operations. Your calculator will do that division first. That is why we have to see the number that you get when you add. So pause this video now and add all 21 of your numbers. All right, hopefully you have paused the video and you came back and you added your numbers. When I added my numbers, and I'll tell you when the list is this long, I do it 2 or 3 times until I know my numbers are consistent. I got 147. If I divide that by 21, I get an average of 7 hours spent each week on homework. The final question says, how many students responded at least, oops, excuse me, I'm sorry, I have a typo, at least 5 hours. Well, at least means 5 or more. It means the smallest number is 5, but it could be more. When I look at how many chose at least 5 hours, I look at 5 and more. If I add up all of those numbers that are 5 or more, 13 students spend at least 5 hours on homework. All right, good luck with the questions that you have and finishing that Google form.